Well, folks, it looks like West Virginia finally lands their offensive coordinator for the 2023 season. Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. Pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap today, we are talking about new West Virginia offensive coordinator, Chad Scott. That's right, folks. Chad Scott, running backs coach and running game coordinator, has been promoted to full-time offensive coordinator. Does that mean he will be full-time play caller? That's a whole nother discussion, and I highly doubt it. I feel like that Neil Brown will probably collaborate with Chad Scott on the play calling, but Chad will get probably more responsibilities than he had before. Plus, he will get a bump in pay, and I think he deserves it, and I'll get to that in a minute. But as far as collaborating with Neil has said in many interviews, or at least a couple of interviews, that he will be more hands-on with the offense this year. He said he regretted not being as hands-on last year, so he will do that. Now, does that mean Neil's going to call the plays? Does it mean he's just going to be have more say in calling the plays? That's yet to be determined. He may tell us more over time. Maybe the media can ask him that in the next press conference. But that being said, I think this is well-deserved for Chad Scott for multiple reasons. Number one, you look at the development of the running backs on that team. Jalen Anderson, look how much better he got from game one to the last game, and look how good he looked there at the end. Keep in mind, he only got to campus. I think the season had already started in 2021 before he even got to campus. So he was well behind some of the other guys on the team as far as freshmen go. Was far behind Justin Johnson, who was in the same recruiting class. Justin Johnson has gotten better. You look at Tony Mathis, the improvement he's made. You look at what he did with C.J. Donaldson. I mean, he took C.J. Donaldson from a guy who had not even played running back before to being the top rusher on the team and one of the top rushers in the Big 12 until he got hurt as a true freshman in like 3 or 4 weeks of practice. I mean, think about that, folks. Now, C.J. Donaldson had a lot to do with that, his work ethic and his attitude and doing things the right way. But at the same time, you've got to give Chad Scott some credit for that, folks. That's development right there. The players seem to love the guy. You can tell by the way they react to him on social media. The pictures they take with him. You can tell by the fact that his running backs, at least as of now, have not been leaving the team. I mean, you look at the talent on that team. There are running backs in that room that could go play for a lot of Division I football teams, potentially even some blue blood programs in this country, in my opinion. Yet they choose to stay in that really packed running back room with all these other talented guys fighting for playing time because they like it there, because they like playing for Chad Scott. I mean, you've got Jalen Anderson and Justin Johnson, both 4-star recruits in that room, could easily transfer out. Tony Mathis could have transferred out a couple years ago. Could have transferred out last year when he started losing snaps to Jalen or Justin Johnson. But he didn't. Kudos to Chad Scott for that. You look at the development he had with Letty Brown. When Letty Brown was here for 2 years playing under him, he developed at 2,000-yard seasons under Chad Scott. Was really the lone bright spot of the offense for a couple years at West Virginia. Look how much he improved. So you look across the board. He's a good recruiter. Chad Scott is consistently one of the best recruiters in the Big 12. He wasn't ranked as high this year as he normally is, but most years he's top 25, even top 10 a couple years since he's been here. As far as recruiting goes in the Big 12, he brings in talent. He coaches that talent up. He develops them. And it's my opinion that he has arguably the most talented room on the team as far as where they are today versus where they started. I just think he's done a phenomenal job, and I think he deserves it. I've been debating with people on Twitter, even gotten some arguments. I had to even block some people because the arguments went too far. But how good I think Chad Scott is. They just couldn't they got angry with me because I kept defending Chad Scott. I even said if Neil Brown gets fired and they clean his whole staff out, he's the one guy I will try to keep. I think he's that good. I really like Chad Scott. I think he might be the best assistant coach on the staff, if not at least on the offensive side of the ball. I really like the guy. I think he's a top-notch coach, and I'm really happy for him that he got this. Now, my friend and partner, Mountaineer Paul, he's going to have a little bit different look at this from a different viewpoint. That maybe they didn't have a choice but to promote Chad Scott. I recommend you go watch it, but that is one way to look at it. But that, nonetheless, it doesn't take away from Chad Scott deserving this opportunity, any accolades, any pay raises, anything that comes with it. Now, what will West Virginia do for their they do still have another coach to add to the staff. They need a quarterback coach or a tight end coach. Now, Sean Reagan, who was a tight end coach last year, was the quarterback coach the first couple years under Neil Brown, but they moved him to tight ends coach when they brought Graham Harrell in, because that was what Graham Harrell did. That was his specialty, other than offensive coordinator, was coaching quarterbacks. They could move Sean Reagan back to quarterback coach and then hire a tight end coach. Or they could leave Sean Reagan at tight end coach and go hire a quarterback coach. Who knows? Or heck, Neil Brown may decide to coach quarterbacks too. I hope he don't, because I think he's definitely going to be taking on too much responsibility if he tries to do that. But you never know. It could be a wait and see deal here. They went out and hired Bilal Marshall to be the wide receivers coach to replace Tony Washington. Now they just have to hire somebody to replace Graham Harrell. I want to show you the announcement. If you haven't seen it yet, West Virginia Football's Twitter account, the announcement where Neil Brown announced to the team that Chad Scott was getting promoted. I want to share this with you guys. I think it's pretty cool to sit here and see the team's reaction. So now if you've already seen it, I apologize. It's only 45 seconds, so just hang in there. It's not that long, but here it is.
Like I was thinking about when I started the search, here's what I was looking for, right? Looking for a teacher, someone that can go in a classroom in front of a large group of people and be able to deliver a message and be able to motivate and teach. Then I was looking for somebody that could develop relationships, and then somebody that was centered around development. Like, we got to develop those guys. The guy that earned this opportunity and will make the most of it is Chad Scott. Appreciate y'all boys. Excited for the opportunity, man. It's gonna be a great year. Great talent here. We all got everything we need here to go be successful, man. So let's go get it done. Let's get to work. Excited for the opportunity. Appreciate y'all.
Reaction. They really happy for him, which was really cool to see. Another reason I think this is a good move. You know, if Neil's going to have going to be more hands-on with the offense, he needs somebody he's comfortable working with. You bring somebody in from the outside that he's never worked with before, that's risky. And let's be honest, he could be coaching for his job, for his staff's job. You want somebody in that seat that you're comfortable with. He and Chad Scott have worked together for years. They go all the way back to Neil's days as offensive coordinator at Kentucky and Texas Tech. They worked together there. Both of those locations, they worked together at Troy, and then he brought Chad with him to West Virginia. I think they go back, I read 16 years or something like that, but they go back a long way. They've been working together a long time. So anyway, and got to give kudos, guys. Voice of Morgantown was the first one out of the gate with an article on this. So I've got to give him props for that. I try to always share my sources. He was my source for that. So Voice of Morgantown, go check out the article. I'll link to it in the description box. But last but not least, guys, my merch store. If you want to buy Cougars Corner merch, now's the time to do it. Free shipping until January or through January 18th. Free shipping on any item in my merch store, whether it's a hoodie, a T-shirt, a ball cap, a coffee mug. Any of that's free shipping through January 18th, which is a Wednesday. Also, you can support me by joining my channel. Hit the join button right below this video. Become a member of my channel. Take advantage of perks, early access to certain videos, special members-only content, access to contests when I do those. I just recently did a Capital One Bowl Mania contest. The winner of that got $25. Cody Cutright won that contest, so congrats to him. Also, if you want to hit that little heart thanks option right below the video, you can do that. Make a one-time donation. I've got the Fanatics link in my description box where you can buy your favorite West Virginia player NIL jersey. Link to that. If you're not a West Virginia fan, you happen to be watching this anyway, hit that link and get you in a Fanatics site, and you can search for your own team and your own apparel. And it doesn't have to be a jersey, folks. You can buy anything on the Fanatics website. As long as you use that link to get into the site, I'll get credit for it, make a small commission. You'll be supporting what I'm doing here at Cougars Corner. If you want to support me absolutely free, there's 4 ways. You can like this video by hitting the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel. Help me get to 5,000. Comment below. Let me know what you think about Chad Scott becoming offensive coordinator at West Virginia. And last but not least, share this out with all of your college sports loving, especially West Virginia Mountaineer loving friends. With that being said, I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you tuning in to this episode. And until the next one, Q Country Roads. West Virginia.